everybody. Welcome back to Undefined. I am very excited about today's guest because I am talking to Chad Gamble, who you may know as the drummer of Jason Isbell and the 400 unit. How are you today, Chad?
Today I'm doing well. Thank you. How are you?
I'm doing great. I'm very excited to have you on.
Yeah. Been looking
S-
forward to this.
Yes, so I want to know a little bit about your origins as a musician and as a drummer. You grew up in Alabama, correct? You've been living here your whole life?
Uh, I did grow up here in Tuscumbia, Alabama.
Hmm.
I lived in Memphis for a little bit, and Shreveport for a little bit, and
Yes.
then eventually came back here. But yeah, my musical beginnings started just as a kid, getting a drum set for Christmas, when I was 5 years old or so. And my brother plays piano. And so, we would entertain each other and keep each other busy playing like in the basement. And then it would get our parents, if they'd had a party or something, they would make us go down in the basement and play a song or two, which we hated, and it's crazy because, I want to be a musician. Oh, you're making me go play. It's just
You didn't
totally.
want to put on those performances. I know sometimes kids want to like put on shows with their parents, but you and your brother were not about that.
We really weren't. I mean, for my parents, yeah, but with friends, their friends
Yeah.
over, I don't know, we weren't ready for it yet, I don't think.
Yeah,
But yeah.
so kind of leading into that, I want to bring up to another one of a topic. So a lot of people know you as your work in the 400 unit, but for a while you were actually in a band with your brother called the Gamble Brothers Band, and y'all both did vocals and you can sing. I want to know what was the story. I want to know more about that because I was looking up old videos of y'all and y'all were really good, and I want to hear more
Oh,
about how
thank you.
that came to be and your time playing in a band with Al, your brother.
Uh, So after I graduated from the University of Alabama, I moved to Shreveport for a little bit and played with a blues band out of there, who my brother had played with
Hmm.
previously, and then ended up moving to Memphis, where my brother was in '98 or so, maybe.
Hmm.
And um, I, tried to find my own way. He was already established in Memphis. He's 5 years older than I am. He's already
Hmm.
established in the studio scene and also on the live scene there in Memphis. And so, it took me a couple of years to kind of find my place on like Bill Street, and start playing with bands. And then we ended up his band that he was playing with, which was like the house band for two or three clubs on Bill Street. So, you're working every night, but their drumming position came open, and I got the gig and stayed busy for a year and a half, playing 6, 7 nights, sometimes twice a night on Bill Street. And we kind of, that just kind of, it was great living, but what we felt like we had something that we could maybe take elsewhere.
Hmm.
And so he and I left that group and started the Gamble Brothers Band. And in the beginning, yeah, we still had to stay on Bill Street, but we had connections there now, and people were willing to book us, and so we started out playing all covers, and then we started doing some writing with our saxophone player, Art Edmiston. And after a while, we were getting some interest from there was a small label there that wanted to sign us and help us out. And so, we were able to get a booking agent and do some light touring for, I don't know, 4 or 5 years.
Hmm.
And But yeah, I mean, it was a fun time. It was a very educational time, as far as what it takes to even start a band if you're trying to get anywhere out of town, and trying to
Yeah.
tour, uh, and you're not making any money. So it's trying. And I was newly married in '98,
Hmm.
so I wasn't you know wasn't off on the best foot there financially. But
Hmm.
we did it for a while, and we got to do some cool gigs. We got to open for Dirty Dozen Brass Band and Galactic and
That's really
Black
cool.
Crows. Even actually, our last
Whoa.
gig, our final official gig, uh, was opening for the Black Crows in Memphis, which
That
was
is
cool.
crazy. When was
Yeah, it was
that?
cool. That was 2000 and probably seven, maybe six or seven.
Wow. And so
Yeah.
how was it like working and collaborating with your brother? Did y'all get along well on the musical front?
Yeah, yeah, we've always gotten along well. He's an older brother, so
Hmm.
I was prepared for any jabs that were going to come my way, but no, we got along great. Um, and I don't know, at some point we just, the reality kind of hit us that, man,
Hmm.
this is really either going to take a lot longer or we just need to kind of take a break or, hang it up.
Yeah.
And so about 2007, we decided to take a break, which just turned into hanging it up.
Aw. So you mentioned a bunch of cool kind of opening gigs. Do you have any other fun memories from that time that looking back on?
Well, that was yeah, I do. We got to go out to Colorado a lot with like Galactic, and then any uh uh like the Dirty Dozen. We did a lot of stuff with them, just mostly in the Southeast with Dirty Dozen Brass Band.
Hmm.
But they were all very, very good and educational times, just fun for the most part, if you
Hmm.
don't like making money. Uh,
Do you think that kind of
but
prepared you a little bit from like the
y-
heavy touring that you were about to go on? Because I mean,
for
I feel
sure.
like the 400 unit, y'all are always on tour, and you've also like
Yeah.
played a wide variety of gigs as well, like headlining, but you've opened, been on some pretty eclectic bills. So I bet that was some good practice for what was
It
about to come.
it really was. It was just a dip of your
Yeah.
toe in the water though, compared to what was coming up for me. So yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and before we kind of jump ahead in the timeline, what I thought was interesting about your music, and I feel like a lot of people, pretty much everybody in the band too, it's like y'all have a pretty eclectic style in your music taste. Like I think like the 400 unit it is under the Americana like folk umbrella, but I think like the Gambles Brothers band. And like it's kind of, you played a little bit of the blues circuit. It's kind of like a different kind of style of music. And I know you've done some sessions with other artists, and you do have a pretty wide variety of musical taste. So like growing up, like what were some of like the foundational like styles and artists that really got you inspired in terms of your playing?
Yeah. So growing up, along with stuff that my brother and I would hear on the radio and get into in the 80s, our dad also had a pretty expansive vinyl collection. And so we were also, we listened to 80s popular music, but we were also listening to like Chet Atkins and Ray
Hmm.
Charles, Wes Montgomery. So my dad had a lot of blues and jazz and then folk music too,
Hmm.
so we were kind of exposed to a great deal. And, I think that kind of helped inform uh, what he and I were going to be shooting for, which was more of like a soul and
Yeah,
funk type thing,
yeah.
but I think that's kind of where, it was such a vast array of vinyls that we were just rich in that for sure.
That's really cool. Are you still into record collecting now?
Not so much, I've dabbled in it, but I'm not near as devoted to it as some people I know.
Yeah, I know it's a hard hobby. I used to get
It
really
is.
into it, and then the more I started going to shows, I was like, I have to pick one or the other. So
Right.
I'll
Yeah.
pick them out when I can get them. But it's definitely a interesting hobby, especially like when you're really committed, like getting those rare pressings and like full
Yeah.
discographies. It's a whole rabbit hole.
And I feel like I'm not ever sitting down long enough at home to listen to
Yeah,
to put a record on and spin it,
that
which is
is
sad,
true.
but yeah, takes
So
commitment.
yeah, so 2007 is when the Gamble brothers stopped, and then right around that time is when you started working with Jason, correct?
That's correct. So when Al and I stopped, I had a 2-year old or 1-year old Lillian,
Mm,
and I was going to have to kind of buckle down and get a day job, and I
hmm.
did, selling advertising for a phone book, and I was pretty horrible at it, but I did it for a year, and at the end of that first year, I got a call from Jason, who I only kind of knew. We didn't really grow up together because I'm a little
Yeah.
older than he is. Um, but I got a call to do a sub weekend for them, and I did it. I loved it, uh, and but had to come back and go back to work. So a couple of, I don't know, about October of 2008. Uh, I was in a pretty dark spot. Hated my job, and my wife recognized it, and she said, "Look,
Mm-hmm.
if you can find a working gig, quit this job and take the gig." Which I took as, all right, I'm going in tomorrow and quitting, and then
Yeah.
I'll try to find a gig somewhere.
Hmm.
Which I did. I went and I quit, and then came home and did not have anything lined up until the next day. I got a call from Jason to do a 2-week run filling in for drummer, which filling in, they were just kind of rotating some drummers around at that point.
Hmm.
uh, and in that 2-week period, they decided to hire me for uh, with 400 units. So it
Wow.
was kind of some good timing. I kind of pressed my luck on it, but it ended up turning out all right, for sure.
Okay, so have you had studio experience? Like, I know you had with the Gamble brothers, but besides that, like, how was it getting in the studio and playing and drums for a band like that?
It was fine. Yeah, I think I had a good bit of experience in the studio, mainly because of the Gamble Brothers band, which our label that we were on, Archer Records in Memphis, had their own studio downtown
Hmm.
Memphis, and we were able just to kind of camp out there and come in and go as we please, and try to just be creative whenever we could.
Hmm.
So I did have a little bit of experience on just kind of the etiquette and what's expected of you in the studio and stuff like that. Um, what I really liked is that Jason infamously or famously, we don't hear the songs before we go into the studio.
Uh-huh.
Like, and we'll sit down before we're about to record, and it's like, okay, he'll play the song for us on acoustic, and then we all go out and figure out what we're going to do. I like that, and I've always liked that because I don't want to spend a lot of time. Like, if somebody hires me for a session, I'll send you some demos to listen to. I don't want to listen because I don't want to be thinking about it. I would
Yeah.
rather capture some raw, direction in it. And so that's how Jason worked. And I was like, oh, this is perfect. This is perfect for me. So I feel like I fell right in with them.
Hmm. That's awesome. And then I wanted to kind of go back to your origins with Jason. So at the time, were you not living in Tuscumbia? So you weren't in the Shoals when he got the call. Did you move back and that's how you kind of got to know him?
Yes. Yes. So after Al and I split the band, me and my wife moved back to Tuscumbia. She's from here as well. So,
Awesome.
so yeah, she got a job offer, on the tail end of the band before we split up. And so we decided to move back to Tuscumbia. So I
And
was living here. Yeah,
oh, nice. I'm sure you saw Jason playing locally.
I did. And, I was part of a little jazz trio here, and he would come and sit in and play with that. So, it was fun.
Yeah, I wanted to ask kind of like about local Florence music spots. I was reading the book about the Muscle Shoals Swampers, and at the very end, they mentioned how you and Jason and I think some other people they would go to the Mexican restaurant that
La
used to
Fonda.
be
Yeah,
yeah, La Fonda. I want to hear a little bit more about that because it's now shut down. But ever since I
it
read
is.
that, I wanted to know about those kind of days of catching music.
Yeah, so a guitar player here in town, Barry Billings, would host uh, these kind of jam nights, sit-in nights, at La Fonda, which was a Mexican restaurant. It
Hmm.
actually had a decent little band area. Food was horrible. Don't, you didn't go there to eat. You went there to listen to music.
Yeah.
Uh, and I say that with love, peace and love, because I love the Castills who owned it. But
Hmm.
but yeah, Barry and Jason got to experience this at a younger age than I did, because I was already moved away when Barry kind of started doing this. So
Hmm.
Jason, as a high school student, would go to those jams and sit in and play. He and Chris Tompkins would go and sit and play,
Hmm.
and it just became a thing. And it was really valuable because Barry, uh, phenomenal guitar player. He's just like a human jukebox, though, and so
Hmm.
you were rarely given any kind of heads up on what songs you're going to play, and if he felt like starting a song that, by Steely Dan, you better hope that you could fill it out. And uh, it kind of, it just helps sharpen your tools, to be able to fall into a situation like that. And I had already had some experience, like playing on Beale Street and stuff, of,
Hmm.
getting requests for songs that maybe maybe you don't, or people sitting in and wanting to do a certain song. So I had had some experience with that, but LaFonda, I would say, was invaluable to 90% of the musicians around here. Even the old guys would come in and play. David
That is
Hood would
so
come play.
cool.
Spooner would come every now and then.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah, I just love learning about the history of Florence and Muscle Shoals, especially after going there a couple times
yeah,
and getting to see it. Were there any other experiences like that, like as maybe you were getting started, that really kind of impacted you?
yeah. There was one, going back way further when I was a child. My parents would go every now and then to see this band, called the New Breed, Mickey Buckins and the New Breed. Well, Mickey
Hmm.
Buckins, a musician here in town, wrote the Candy Staten song "Heart on a String." And so he was a songwriter in town. But my parents would go see, they'd have these
Uh,
sock hops or whatever they would
hmm.
call them, and sometimes I would get to go, and that was kind of my first introduction into seeing players live. That, and then a little on further down the road from, I don't know, when I was in high school, there was this bar called Union Station, which
Hmm.
every Tuesday night would be the Decoys.
Uh-huh.
And so I got to, those were, some very valuable times too, to just kind of see how things work in a live setting.
That's awesome. And you also
Yeah.
have experience at the various studios in Muscle Shoals, whether recording for Jason, but I know that even when you're not recording with Jason, you've done some other session work in Muscle Shoals and even in
Yeah.
Nashville. I want to hear about some of the other artists that you have worked with over the years and any cool experiences about that.
Yeah, I've gotten to do a good amount of work here in town, and some in Memphis. A lot of, at Fame, for a while there at Fame Studios, it seemed like they were just kind of churning out demos for, it was more of a writing spot. It seemed
Hmm.
like, when I first moved back here. But after the Rick Hall documentary that came out,
Hmm.
people kind of started coming back to this area
Yeah.
and wanting to experience that. So the recording scene here has kind of hit a boom again, and so, uh, as far as neat experiences, I've let's see who, well, like with Jason, we got David Crosby came in
Yeah, that was in Weather
on
Vanes, right?
reunions.
Greenies. Yeah, he did Only Children. Yeah, yep.
Yeah, yeah, and that was super cool. Around that same time, I got a call from Matt Ross Spang, who, engineer and producer,
Hmm.
who's in Memphis. He said, "Hey, I've got Al Green lined up to there was some kind of, Spotify was doing some kind of, or Amazon Music was doing some kind of spotlight thing,
Hmm.
and it was like getting soul artists to sing country songs, or country artists to sing soul. Anyway, so he's
Hmm.
got, Matt calls and said, "Hey, look, I've got Al Green coming in, and and your brother's on it. He goes, I do already have a drummer, Ken Coomer, fantastic drummer.
Hmm.
Uh, he goes, but would you want to play percussion on it? And so I got to sit in a room just mere feet away from Al Green, and play congas
That
on the
is
song.
so
We
cool.
did Before the Next Teardrop Falls, and you can
Hmm.
find that like online somewhere.
That is so awesome. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it was really cool.
That's really cool. And I remember hearing the stories about David Crosby coming to the studio and doing Only Children. That just seemed
Yeah,
so cool. Were
it
there
was.
were there moments kind of being in the 400 unit and being able to like go on uh talk shows or go on festivals and meet all these people? Were there any like few moments that were like really surreal? Did you ever get like starstruck meeting somebody along this journey?
Yeah, yeah. Like Newport Folk Festival is a good spot for that.
Oh, I
I got
really
to
want to
meet.
go to that.
Oh, you totally should. So many people David Crosby performed with us there, but I
Hmm.
got to meet James Taylor there.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean that's a really cool spot to meet some of your heroes. Yeah, for sure.
And another question kind of similar to that, and I think out of everybody that I've talked to in the 400 unit, you have been in it the longest, and you've been in it. I think you were the only one that I've talked to because I've talked to Sadler, Will, and Anna that had like seen everything like pre-Southeastern to now. And how has that journey been for you personally? Like, was this something that you never like expected for it to go the way it has and to have this longevity and such a loyal fan base and all of these really cool experience to kind of see that evolve from playing like small clubs to playing Red Rocks and Radio City every year and being
Yeah,
able to
yeah,
do that. How is that?
for sure. And real quick, Derry has me beat by 1 year. He was in the band 1 year before I was.
Oh wow,
But
yeah.
but so like that first 2 week run I did, or no, the first weekend that I subbed for Jason,
Uh-huh.
uh, we played a small club in, I guess, Macon,
Hmm.
Georgia, and it was packed out, And even though it was like 150 people, I was not used to just packing out places.
Hmm.
Gamble Brothers band would have decent crowds at best. But that weekend, I saw, each place we played was totally packed or sold out. And so, I already knew that he was, such a talented writer
Hmm.
and musician as well. But when you see that there's a following, however small it was at that point, I knew that this was something I could get behind and commit to. And quite honestly, I'd been on the other side, for a year
Hmm.
working the day job. And so I knew what the alternative was. I could
Hmm.
either try to slug this out, and stay with it, or go back to doing something I hate. And it took some time. It took
Hmm.
a lot of being gone, a lot of missing, my daughter grow up.
Hmm.
Um, but my family was willing to make the sacrifice too, so that was huge,
hmm.
and I owe them a lot for that.
Hmm.
But you you test yourself, you see what you can endure, and we endured a lot. We from thefts, from getting our all of our gear stolen,
Yeah.
to just being broke out on the road, having $5 a day to spend on cigarettes, or, are you going to buy a pack of cigarettes, or are you going to eat today? What's going to,
Hmm.
it was some pretty thin times. So after 2013, when things started to really, we started seeing little milestones being met here and there. And it was that really just lit a spark, and we haven't looked back, it's been
Yeah.
great.
And how is that like experiencing like the Southeastern thing in real time? Because I remember hearing, I think Jason told a story about Southeastern came out, and then the day that it came out, y'all played a show. I can't remember where it was. I think it might have been in Virginia or somewhere, and it sold out immediately. Or it didn't sell out immediately. It was sold out that night, and I think like after that night, it was just like there was a shift and people were kind of catching on, and I feel like it only got
Yes.
bigger about that. How was that when that album when you first heard that album, like working on it, did you know, like, did you have a feeling that it was going to break out in the way that it did, or was that just like something unexpected?
I had a really good feeling about it, because of songs like Stockholm and obviously Cover Me Up and Elephant,
Hmm.
songs in the show. I mean, that whole record was just, it was so much fun to make,
Hmm.
just because it was a little bit of a departure from, just hard and heavy rock, but it was something to witness, though, for sure. We're for that 2013. I think it actually came out on my birthday,
Wow.
so it came out, and we're still in a van and trailer, and still having to kind of plug the miles with, maybe having a tour manager with us as a crew of one.
Hmm.
Somebody who could drive, who could tour manage it, who could run sound in one person. Um, so about 4, 5 months later, we were able to bring one more person in. So someone who could tour manager and also have a sound guy with us slash crew. And then, by the end of 2013, like in December, Jason called me. He's like, I think we're getting a bus. I think we're finally moving up, to a bus. And this van that we had just, we I was driving it when it broke down,
Oh no.
for the last time. And this was in 2013, and we're driving on the interstate, getting close to Little Rock, and I'm giving it gas, and it just won't do anything. It just won't do anything. And then I just start pressing harder. I'm like, die, just please die, uh, pull it over. And then within a couple of days, it was compacted, like it was taken to the junkyard, and the van was just made into a little box, which I wish we could have gotten. But uh,
Yeah, that would have been a cool memento.
yeah, we had all kinds of plans for that van, to run it off a cliff, while we're shooting at it, or
Yeah,
uh,
good
it,
riddance.
yeah, yeah. So we were glad to see it go, and that just, we just kept, I don't know, kept our heads up and kept going. And yeah, with that moment of being told, we're getting out of the van was like one of the bigger moments, you
Making it
know.
into the big
Yeah,
time. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. And I don't have to drive anymore. That's
Yeah, no
great.
more
Awesome.
driving. That must be so
Hmm.
nice. That is so awesome. I love that. And another thing I love about the 400 unit is like I can tell that like y'all like genuinely enjoy playing with each other, and it seems like
Yeah.
y'all really enjoy spending time with each other, and especially with like a band that is on the road as much as y'all are and have been together so long. And I feel like the recent shows, like I keep telling everybody like, oh, this show was my favorite. This one was my favorite because I feel like y'all keep getting better and better. And I feel like for a band that
Oh,
has been around for so long to even like each time, and I've seen y'all, I think like 13 times or something. I'm like every time I have a favorite show, and it's just because y'all have that like fun energy, and you can tell that like you genuinely enjoy this. And I want to see like what are some of your favorite memories of just touring with everybody and just being in that band?
oh, well, this current lineup, it's just been a breath of fresh air,
Yeah.
not that we were down on anybody or anything, but just some new life into the band. Will Johnson, just a horrible person,
The
he's
worst. Such a drag.
he is he is very inspiring.
I
I wish I
agree.
could be as cool, calm, and collective as he is, and so sweet, and just
I love him
super
so much.
talented. I know,
Hmm.
I know. He's amazing. And Anna, amazing.
Hmm.
We, we do get along rather well, compared to a lot of bands you see, and we're able to hang out or not hang out with each
Hmm.
other on
Yeah.
days off, and nobody's
Yeah.
feelings are hurt or anything like that. But it's a good group, and we all just kind of, point in the same direction, I think, and that's priceless.
Yeah, and I think you can tell that as well. And I wanted to kind of speaking of Will, how was that like for you adding another drummer percussionist in the band, and how did that changed the way that maybe you saw the songs, because kind of arranging them in a different light and kind of bouncing off of him for the past couple of years? How has that been?
Well, to begin with, it started out seamlessly. Like the first note we played in a rehearsal was, from the first note, I knew it was a good call. I knew he
Hmm.
was a great drummer, and that we have kind of a similar sense of feel. And um, yeah, it was great. Like it didn't make me feel weird. It didn't,
Hmm.
it felt comfortable. It felt right. I wish there were more songs that we could, and maybe there will be at some point, but
Hmm.
that, we could double up on the drums. But yeah, it's just, he's such a giving person on stage and off stage. But
Hmm.
on stage, he is open to any suggestions, and I don't really have any for him. But
Hmm.
he's constantly, he's like, "Hey, is this too much, or is that?" It's like, man, no, it's all great. It's all
Hmm.
great. Uh, and I just think it was a perfect fit.
Yeah, I agree. And how is it like with the gong too? That brings a whole level of excitement, Miles.
Okay, well, that may be a sore subject, but you know, and as any drummer, I've been the drummer in this band for 17 years, and this guy comes in and he gets a gong on day one. Any
No.
drummer wants that big gong behind. No, I'm kidding. It was crazy. We were in rehearsals for Weather Vanes,
Hmm.
and uh, when we recorded Miles, uh, I for that part where there's a gong,
Hmm.
I was in this echo chamber at Blackbird Studios with a huge regular type of cymbal, but huge, like 30
Hmm.
inch cymbal, and that one spot in the song hit it,
Hmm.
and it's just reverberating all around my head. And I was like, we'll probably never do anything with that live. And then the first rehearsal, we go over Miles, and Jason's like, wait, we don't have a gong. We need a gong. We need a gong. Where's the gong? And everybody thought he was kidding. Managers over there like, yeah, that's funny. That'd be something, wouldn't it? And he's like, no, get us a gong right now. And so, that's where it was born. And I love it I love Will's, approach to it too. He's just, it's, there's comedy in his playing.
Yeah.
It doesn't affect the playing that much, but I love it. I love his point to the,
Yeah. Well, he should let you
he,
take turns. You can have gong
right,
time.
right. I don't think I could pull it off. The way he gets
I
up
bet you
and has to
could.
swing. He recently, Will sent a video. So Will's uh, daughter Hazel is in a marching band in high school,
Oh, wow.
and they had a night towards the end of the season where uh, they invited the parents to come and switch places with their child, and
Oh my
play their
gosh, that's so
instrument, whether
cute.
you knew how to play it or not.
Hmm.
Well, his daughter is in the what you call the pit, which is the part of the band that's on the sideline,
Yeah, my
playing
brother was in percussion
xylophone.
and marching band. Yeah, he
Yeah,
did all that.
yeah.
Yeah.
So, but she also had a gong, behind her, and so they tell the parents to play the best you can, try to emulate the what the real band does, and anyway, it was just chaos, chaos, and then the camera comes in on Will, and he just turns around and gives the gong and then gives his signature point up to the stands, which nobody there would understand, that he
Uh,
does that on a nightly basis.
yeah.
Anyway, I just thought that was hilarious.
I love that. That is so funny. And then, you mentioned your daughter, your dad too, and I always like asking my guests that are dads, like when it comes to your kids, like was introducing them to music like important for you and like playing things for her, and is that something that she's interested in as well?
Yeah, yeah, for sure. With her, it started listening to the Beatles, like when I would be taking her to school or to daycare in the morning.
Hmm.
Um, and it got to a point where she was singing along, got to a point where she was singing harmonies at some point at a
Hmm.
very young age, and she was able to hear that. And it is very much something that she has in her life. She's very talented, a great vocalist. She plays piano and a little bit of guitar and ukulele. Um, and she's got a great ear, which
Hmm.
is kind of how I learned how to play as well. Um, she is currently in the arts and entertainment program at the University of North Alabama
Yeah, I
here.
was gonna say I
So
know she's at UNA. Yeah.
yeah, so she is in the entertainment program. Not totally sure which aspect she wants to be involved in, be it managerial or performative.
Mhm.
But yeah, she's all in it. And I kind of let her find her stuff she loves.
Hmm.
But a lot of it, like a lot of the old stuff she digs into is stuff that I like as well, and she may not even know that I'm,
Oh wow.
is
Yeah, what
aware of
kind of
this.
music
So,
is she gravitated towards?
man, she loves ELO.
Oh wow.
Um, she loves she's into a lot of Radiohead.
Oh
Loves
yeah.
Radiohead. Yeah, so that
It's a
that
good
was
one.
cool to kind of, yeah, yeah. She's got pretty wide a range of taste with music.
That's so awesome. Did you get to take her on tour a little bit too growing up?
We did not when she was probably 10 or so. She went out with me for the first time for like a
Hmm.
week or so. We were still pretty new to the bus
Hmm.
situation. And then when she graduated high school 2 years ago, she decided to take a gap year. And one of the things she did in that gap year, and as a uh, caveat to keeping her uh, scholarships at school, she had to kind of get involved
Hmm.
somehow, do some shadowing of different positions. So she came out on tour with me that summer. We did an East Coast tour and a West Coast tour with her, and she would shadow, either stage manager. She would definitely sell merch, and just tour managing and just the day-to-day stuff. She recently had to, before her last exams in the fall, she had to give a presentation on her time spent out with me, and time spent like shadowing Tracy Thomas.
Hmm.
And uh, I think she got a good leg up on ideas for what she wants to do,
That is
and
so
being able to
cool.
see everything working like that, I think, is pretty invaluable.
Yeah, especially at a young age too, and to get that experience to be able to go
Yeah,
out there and get the people experience too
yeah.
and
And to
see.
be able to come to class and say, well, yeah, I know about this. This is how that
That is
goes.
so
Yeah,
cool. Yeah, I heard that. I think I saw that she was selling merch at Shoals. I wanted to meet her, but I think that was on Sunday because I know you were
yeah,
gone that Saturday, and Sunday was just so crazy. I was on the barricade all day, so I didn't really have
yeah.
much time to go out and explore.
Yeah, but she's always asking those, are we doing a family bus this year? Or I was like, I don't know. Well, probably, So she's usually good for coming out for a week or so, every year, every summer.
That is so cool. I love
Yeah.
that. That's really awesome. And kind of going back to the band, another question that I had that I was really curious about is I think this is correct. I believe that Foxes in the Snow is the first album that Jason made without anybody playing any backing vocals. Like I think it is his only record where it is just him and that
Just him and the
none
guitar.
of
Yeah.
none of y'all were involved in the recording process. But in the tour, y'all have now played these new renditions of the songs. And we were just
Mhm.
talking about earlier about how you would work in the studio, he would play a song for you and you would come up with that. How was it like with these Foxes in the Snow songs? Did you know, like, kind of right after the studio sessions, or had the album been out for a little bit before you guys took a crack at it? Because there's some really cool renditions. Like, you Bury Me is almost like a bluegrass inspired song now, and it's really
Right.
cool to hear these stripped back songs with the full band. And I wanted to know kind of behind the scenes, what was that like taking those songs and putting the pieces together on that? Especially Bury Me
Yes.
stands out, yeah.
So uh, I think the record came out maybe a month or so before we started touring
Yeah, it came out in
again
March.
in March. So yeah, and we started in April, I think, touring. And we had one rehearsal, and so I honestly did not listen to the record until because I knew that was coming. I knew that,
Uh-huh.
it said this is a solo record, but we'll probably try to incorporate it into the show, with full band. And so hearing that, I was like, okay, well, I'm not going to listen to any of it until I, kind of have
Hmm.
to. Some of that's, you know, that's the way I like to work, but it's also uh comes from my procrastination and like
Yeah.
in education.
Yeah.
I'm always putting stuff off until the last
Yeah.
second. Um, so I had heard, I think I had heard "Cover Me," I mean, "Bury Me," but that was about the only song. So when we did a rehearsal, a 2-day rehearsal to kind of source some of these songs out and see what was all going to be happening on it. And again, it all just kind of fell into place. He would either say, "Look, I want to like bury me." He's like, "Let's make this an upbeat, bluegrass type song instead of what it was already kind of a bluegrass song, but
Yeah.
kind of enhance it a
Sadler on
little
the
bit that
mandolin
way."
was a cool touch.
Yeah, yeah, and I think that's really cool, right? And Crimson, I think, was probably one of my favorites.
It's
Crimson
my
and
favorite.
Clay, yeah, and another double drum song, so you can't go wrong there.
Yeah. I bet it was fun
Um,
coming up with double drum in real
yeah,
time because
it was
yeah, Will was it in
because
the
neither of
Weatherman
us had a
sessions.
leg up on each.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course, yeah, yeah, it was a lot of fun, and Jason was just so open and receptive to anybody's inclination. Uh, so it was fun and not arduous at all.
Hmm.
You would think, oh, we got to go come up with all these parts for this song that's already out there,
Hmm.
but it just wasn't like that at all. And we
Yeah,
kind of
and
treated them all as if they were new on the spot.
yeah, I think that was so cool too, because I had seen him do the solo run in Nashville before I saw y'all in Birmingham. So I had already heard the songs like live with just him, but I think it puts on a whole new spin with
Hmm.
the full band. And I heard a lot of like positive reception of people be like, I want the live recordings of the Foxes and the Stone songs to the full band because they're just so much fun.
Yeah, yeah. I wonder if that may be on the horizon somewhere, but I don't know.
Oh, that would be cool. And I think that's
Yeah.
really neat too when you can, have a song because of like the way that the whole album is structured because it is so simple, the way that you're able to adapt to it
Hmm.
and add new sounds to it and put like a fun experience where everybody's involved and there's a lot of stuff going on. Like I said, the mandolin and Anna's upright bass comes out for some of those songs as well, and
Yeah,
the
yeah,
dual drumming, and it's cool to see like as a fan the duality of those
yeah.
songs and hear how different they sound throughout the live shows.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. And we didn't really redo all of them, and so there's
Hmm.
some that we still haven't touched, and I don't know if we will or not. We'll see.
Yeah, because I don't think "Wind Behind the Rain," I don't think that has been played with a full band.
No,
Y'all did Gravelweed, Crimson and Clay. I don't think "Don't Be Tough" has that been played with the full band yet. I
mm-mm,
haven't seen that
no,
one. Yeah,
no.
so that would be cool.
Yeah, maybe. I know he's writing right now, so we'll probably have another studio album coming out, or
Oh,
to getting started on, hopefully sometime soon.
oh, that's super exciting. I
Yeah,
can't wait. And
I'm
then
always happy when he lets us know that he's writing. I'm just, yes, all right,
you
let's
you get
keep it moving.
excited? Get excited, get back
I
in the
do.
studio?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Just, and always, and I don't get tired of playing the songs that we play every night, but
Hmm.
just having new stuff. And that catalog has grown so much over the past 17 years that I've been in the band that,
Hmm.
you just can't. There used to be nights where we could fit almost all the songs we had,
Yeah,
into a show, but it's just impossible now, unless you're
yeah.
Springsteen and you do 4 hours.
Right, yeah. And I'm so excited for the first like studio album with the new lineup because I know like well
Yeah.
it's been a while for other bands and I've been thinking I was like that's gonna be so cool to
Yeah,
hear whatever that sounds like when it's
yeah,
time. Like that's gonna
for sure.
be a treat. Kind of backing what you just said about the discography and how y'all were able to put all your songs into one set. And now that's not, I think a thing that I noticed is that at the Ryman, you do kind of more deeper cuts, and I hear a lot like from like the fans' perspective. I know that there's a lot of songs, like older songs, that I personally would love y'all to hear. I get excited when I get to hear them, and songs that haven't been touched in a while. Like, how has that been when it's Ryman time, kind of selecting those songs and revisiting them? Were there any ones that have kind of like surprised you? Like when I saw y'all, you did The Magician, and that was the first time
Yeah,
that I had ever heard that song, and that was really
yeah,
cool to hear.
yeah. That has been a long time since we played Magician. Street Lights used to be in every year at the Ryman. Yeah, that's when those songs
Yeah, everybody wants
surface,
streetlights.
just
Yeah.
because you gotta, nobody wants to hear the exact same set every night.
Hmm.
And there's certain songs that you have to play, and
Hmm.
uh, but yeah, The Magician was a big surprise this year to me. Um, like I say, Streetlights is my wife's favorite song, so he
Oh,
usually gets that in every if she's there,
yeah.
he'll play that for her.
Still haven't heard
He
that one
makes the
yet.
call though. So,
Hmm.
uh, but yeah, I'm trying to think. There was another one that we may or may not. Well, I think we probably went over it
Yeah.
one day at the Ryman and then ended up
I know
not
you did
playing. But it
however
was
long
really,
this year.
yeah. So that song, that came off the record that I started,
Uh-huh.
the tour with, the
Hmm.
self-titled record, and we never played it. We never played it live, ever,
Whoa.
ever. And then we decided, 17 years later to break it out.
Oh my gosh. I was just that one. Yeah,
Yeah,
Cigarettes and Wine I saw made the set list too,
yeah,
and that's been a
yeah.
while. Like Dress
That one's for
Blues, I really want
Tracy,
to
I
hear.
think. Yeah.
Oh, I love that.
So
Yeah,
her
I want
birthday
to.
always kind of falls into that rhyme and run. And so that's a little birthday present to her, I think. It's one of her
Yeah.
favorites.
Little birthday treat. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm hoping to do like, because I've never done like a proper multi-day Ryman run. I usually only go for one day, which is like very seems off brand for me. But I think this year we're gonna try to do like a whole weekend,
Yeah, yeah,
so we
you
can see
should.
catch more of those deep cuts. Because every
Yeah.
time I get sad when I'm only there for one night and then I have to go home, it's like, wait, I want more.
Yeah, yeah, for
And
sure.
kind of talking about that, my favorite part of the Ryman show that I got to see is that you were lead vocals. You
Oh,
sang "The Remedy" by the band. What was that like? Because you have been doing this covers tradition over the past few years. I think one year you guys did Tom Petty, and we
we
did
did.
REM last
Yep.
year. I was there for that, and then the band this year. How has that process been like? And what was it like taking lead on vocals?
Oh man. That's a fun part of every year. Sometimes, sadly, we're doing it because somebody has died.
Yeah, it
Like
was the
the
Tom
year we
Petty.
did the Tom
Hmm.
Petty, and then this past year, Garth Hudson, the keyboard player from the band, he was the final one to go this
Hmm.
past year. So he was like, "All right, let's do band covers this year." And the first day of the Ryman, we're getting there for sound check and kind of going over what he wants to do, and then he asked if I wanted to sing one, which I don't know, yeah, of course, sure. But and I was thrilled and honored to be able to do that. Um, and it kind of dusted off the pipes a little bit. I hadn't hadn't really sang lead vocal in quite a while, but it was fun. Uh, and it's all music that we really love too, so that
Hmm.
helps.
Yeah, I know y'all are big fans of the band. I mean, Danko
Yeah,
Manuel being
yeah,
about
right.
them, but I know like the whole band really is one of your inspirations. So it was cool to
Yeah,
see y'all
for
do
sure.
that and to see you on lead vocals. And I was standing behind Whitney. I saw her filming you. I was like, that was very sweet. Yeah, it was great. I was
Oh,
like, man, Chad was so good. That was my favorite part of the whole show. It was funny to see Jason not like on lead, like just to see him playing the guitar in the background.
Yeah,
Yeah, that was fun to watch too. It was just
yeah, yeah.
really cool. It was a nice way to close off the show.
Yeah, yeah, it was fun, and I appreciate him letting me do that.
Do you have any like favorite Ryman memories? Like how is that time for you? Because I always like asking the band about that because it's really cool that you all get to do that every year. It's like a little homecoming.
It very much is a homecoming now. The first few years was I was still pretty wide-eyed about it, and not that it's lost on me now what a special place that is, but
Hmm.
we have gotten pretty comfortable with it, so it's kind of
Yeah.
takes some of the mystique out of the Ryman. It's a very special thing, and we depend on it every year.
Hmm.
It's I can remember the first time we played in like 2013 maybe. I think Southeastern was already out, but yeah, the first one night, and then who knew it was gonna take off and be. I think at one point we were doing 10 nights. Now we're back down to six, which is
Yeah.
good. 10 nights is a lot. Eight
That
is
is
a lot too.
crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I like the new structure of Thursday through Saturday instead of Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday.
Seeing y'all thriving on a Monday would be crazy though. I kind of
I
like
know, I know.
I would just need to move in at that point.
Right, right,
That's what y'all gonna do. That's like what Sadler's basically saying is like y'all drop your stuff off. You don't have to worry about setting up for the next day. You just get to like
right.
come in, especially for those
House
who
gig.
live there. Yeah, it's just so
Yeah,
so simple. I can
yeah,
understand like you fall into a routine.
yeah. The more chaotic that Nashville gets, excuse me, downtown, the kind of the little more taxing, trying to get to and from, and
Oh,
then
I
just
agree. I I totally agree on that. That's like the one thing that I don't love about that experience is
yeah,
getting in and out. That was the one
it's a
thing.
lot.
Yeah. Have you been to the Pinnacle yet? I know Jason did
I
his
have not.
solo. Oh, it's what I liked about that because I saw him do his residency there is that you're not on Broadway. So like getting
Right,
in and out of that was very, I think, because I've been to the Ryman and like Bridgestone and Ascend. I think the Pinnacle was by far like I'm sure it's going to get crazier the more it gets built up over there because it's Nashville and
right.
everything's moving at like a crazy pace. But I did like that situation, not having to deal with Broadway,
I
because
can
I
see
get
that
very
totally. Yeah,
overstimulated by Broadway, and
sure.
especially once the show's over, like nightlife is it's peak. Everybody's out there doing all the
Oh, yeah.
Broadway things, so calling a car back to the hotel is
Of course.
always
Yeah.
always not fun, but it's
Right.
cool. It's always worth the trek. It's been a highlight of my year for the past 3 years, and I always look
Good.
forward
Good.
to seeing y'all. And then kind of wrapping things up, are there any other like favorite memories of being in the band and kind of touring? I mean, you guys got a lot of cool places. You went to Mexico last year.
Yeah, we did a
You're going to Europe
destination.
again. Yeah. So I want to
Hmm.
hear any if you have any other cool stories or just
Just
things that
yeah, getting to travel uh uh in the US and outside of the US, whether it's Europe or Australia, Canada, Mexico, doing
Mhm.
that now where we're able to kind of enjoy it, and it's not just a boom, get in town, play the show, boom, next town type thing.
Mhm.
We're at a place where we can enjoy these spots that we go to, and a lot of them are spots we've been to a lot, but we've never been able to really kind of stop and just take everything in. So that touring these days is a lot more of that, and man, I'm really grateful for it because it just the expansiveness of seeing different cultures, different societies, and being able to uh, take it in and enjoy it, and kind of identify and stuff like that. With it's just it's kind of priceless too. To see stuff that I know a lot of the people in this town anyway
Mhm.
probably will never get to see.
Yeah.
And so I don't take that for granted. I just think that's one of the neatest parts of this job for sure.
I love that. Do you have any like favorite places that when you see that you're going there, you get really excited to go kind of explore again?
Yeah, yeah. I love our runs in Europe because we do a lot of like the Nordic, like Sweden and Norway. Um, I've become a real big fan of those spots. And the more you go, the more.
Mm.
familiar you become with, and you get to know your way around without even having to look at maps or anything like that. Uh, you know, one of the prettiest places we've been was New Zealand. Uh,
Yeah.
it was just gorgeous, and in New Zealand you can pretty much see four seasons in one day. Depending on
Huh.
which side of the island you're on. It's
Yeah.
just crazy, crazy beautiful. And again, something that I just feel blessed that I've been able to take part in.
That is so cool. Are you excited for your Europe run this year? I know y'all have a new
I
one.
am. I am, in particular because we're going in the summer. Normally,
Yeah.
for the longest time, we've gone in like this time, like in January. We're over there, and it's just brutally
Cold.
cold and
Yeah.
snow and ice and
I
every.
think last time y'all were there in like December, I remember. Like, I remember it
Hmm.
was like the winter.
Yep, yep, yep. So this year we're doing it right, as far as I'm concerned. We're going in the
Oh,
summer. Yeah.
that is so awesome. Well, is there
Yeah.
anything else that I didn't cover that you maybe wanted to bring up? Anything coming up in this year that you want to highlight? I know the band is doing spring and summer tour. It's kind of a mixture of Jason solo, but the band also just announced quite a bit of
Yeah.
tour dates as well, and got Red Rocks coming up and Radio
Yeah.
City.
Yeah. Those are going to be fun. Radio City is going to be a lot of fun. We get back started towards the end of this month. And we've been off since November, so everybody I
Yeah.
think is kind of raring to go. So I know I am. I'm looking forward to getting back out there for sure.
Well, that's so awesome. Well, it's been such a pleasure being able to talk to you. I've really wanted
Oh,
you on the
thank
show
you.
for a while now, and it's just
Well, I'm
been,
glad we got it done.
yeah, great to get to know you and to talk to you.
You too, Bella.